All right, all right, all right. Welcome, guys, to the Habit Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking with one of our HBL clients, Mr. David Ashworth.
You are tuning in to the Habit Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewell. This is the Habit Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Habit Based Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we got a very special guest, Josh Gallinato, who is owns the Botox Room, does aesthetics, and also does weight loss, peptides, and laser, different modalities for laser. Josh, can you, I want to welcome you on the show today, but can you give us kind of a brief description of who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thanks, Jesse. So I'm a nurse practitioner. I live in South Central Pennsylvania around Hershey, where all the chocolate comes from. And I've been a nurse practitioner here for a good number of years and kind of got the entrepreneurial bug about 5 years ago, like around 2019. Kind of dabbled in a couple of side businesses, some things that were kind of taken off, and then the COVID stuff kind of shut that down. So I started looking for something else and ended up in the aesthetic industry and was really enjoying it, have been enjoying it. And then, I forgot what was your original question?
Yeah. So like a little bit about, what specific services you offer.
Sure. So I started with Botox, just doing the cosmetic stuff, got into fillers, doing all that. And then as the business is growing, ended up getting laser for laser hair removal, doing some skin lesions, stuff like that. And then from a lot of clients actually asking me if I would get into more health and wellness and weight loss stuff, I started looking into that and added that about February. So just continuing to add services and grow.
Awesome. So coming into, habit-based lifestyle, kind of before you signed up, what was maybe something you were, maybe struggling with when it came to your marketing?
Something I struggled with marketing. It was just marketing in general. Never had to do any marketing or anything like that before. So, you start getting all these ads. As soon as you do a search, you get 1,000 ads for different marketing, people hitting you up on social media, etc. So I've tried numerous things, everything from local marketing companies, billboards, mailers, stuff like that, to like these people managing your social media for you. All in all, I'd say in the past year, I probably spent close to 30K, which, for my small business is a lot, but, my return was just, lucky to break even essentially.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So, obviously it sounds like you've done a lot of things like the paid ads, manage posts for me. What were some of the frustrating things that came with hiring these companies that you kind of like noticed?
The absolute most frustrating thing to me was all the promises. Everybody guaranteeing that they'd get you a certain kind of return, or like you'll get this many new customers or clients a month, and like not even close. We'll guarantee you 10 new clients a month, and I'd be lucky to get like one or two. I would say the empty promises were the most frustrating to me.
Kind of the under promise, or over promise, under deliver.
Yes.
So like coming into us, man, like initially we had a conversation to begin with. Like, what did you see that was different before we ever, got on a call? Like, what did you notice right away what was different about us?
I think what helped was seeing some of the examples of a lot of people that are already doing it. And, most places can provide you with a certain amount of testimonial, usually 3, 4, 5. But to see that there was a community of people in here that were not only doing it and active, but like continuing to stay active. So I'm like, okay, well, that's a good number of people that can kind of vouch. But also, you also had given me the expectation, like, hey, we expect you to make back what you've spent here within your first 4 weeks. And I was like, okay, I like that guarantee. That kind of gives me a little bit of security, so to speak. And it's the first marketing where I am learning to do it myself versus someone just saying, here, just pay us a bunch of money and we'll take care of it for you. And I've really no idea what they're doing in a sense in the background. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Did we lose our connection here?
Hey, you there, man? You there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, you kind of cut out for a second.
Sorry. Looks
You
like,
said like it's the
sorry about
first,
that.
and then you kind of cut out.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was talking. It's the first marketing, so to speak, where I get to learn a skill and I get to play a big part in it versus someone saying, "Hey, pay us a bunch of money, we'll take care of it for you," and then you give them your money and you essentially have no idea what they're doing on the background.
Right. So what is all right? So obviously you come into our program, you get started. What was kind of the initial thing you noticed that was different? Obviously, without getting into a bunch of specifics on what you're doing, but like what was the first thing you noticed right away that was different about, what we did, versus other things?
The program. So like, as soon as I logged in, started seeing all the different videos and stuff that I had to learn, I was like, wow, this is deep. There's a lot to it. Excuse me. I've done a previous coaching program that was for a completely different thing. It had nothing to do with this industry. It was one of those guru type people, but the video content was nowhere close to this amount, so to speak. I would say that was number one, and then number two, the involvement of all the other I don't know, students, if that's what we're called. The involvement of all the other students is like wow. And even in my very first, not just a coaching call with you, but I noticed my first time I was able to get on one of the weekday calls, I was getting advice from people several weeks in ahead of me on the program. I was like, oh, that makes sense because they're having some of the same struggles that I was having, getting started. And I mean, that's just as valuable, if not more, than even some of the coaching that I might get from you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, man. So, from when you came in to signing up to kind of like initially, what was like one of the first things that you started to see from a results perspective? Maybe not necessarily signing up your first person, but like a lot of times people are like, well, what do you notice first? What was the first thing you noticed start happening on your Facebook page?
How many people were engaging? Like I was shocked, not only at people engaging with the content you start to put out, but even getting private messages. I was like, oh my gosh, like almost instant leads that like wasn't getting anywhere else.
And prior to you working with us, were you doing anything on your Facebook page?
No, nothing. I hadn't touched Facebook in, I don't know, maybe 6 years.
Okay. I mean, a lot of, what happens a lot of times people are like, well, I don't ever use,
Yeah.
Facebook. It's like this old dinosaur, like an old car that's been parked,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. You
then,
have it, but you're not using it. It's
yeah.
just
So
there.
like a lot of times people say, well, it's probably going to take me a long time to see a change or see a result. But, based off what you're saying is like, that was the first thing you noticed.
Yeah. I was shocked, like super shocked.
So how long did it take you to get your first client?
Oh, okay. I know I've only been in this 6 weeks, but it already feels probably like a week. I
Okay.
think I think in the first week I think I had two.
Okay.
Yeah, in the first week I had two new clients, and I was like, wow.
And they were like, ideal clients. They weren't like,
Yes, yes,
people
not these
like,
cheapo
hey,
lead. Exactly. Like, oh,
give
I've
me
got
40 IUs of, Botox and I'll buy one IU, right?
yes, yeah,
So,
solid
okay.
leads.
So you started to see results. You kind of started to believe in the system. Like, what have you been able to do, man, just in the short 6 weeks you've been in here from a results perspective?
Sure. So as I mentioned, I had those first two in that 1 week, and then a week or two later, got another two or three. Excuse me. So in my 3 to 4 weeks, and just for the audience sake, I had a vacation where I was away out of the country. So ultimately, really, my results are 5 weeks because I was gone for a week.
Got it.
But just today alone, and you and I talked about this, I hit 4 new clients. I've got 3 or 4 more in the pipeline that I'm really close to closing. So today was like a $6,300 day, just boom, just like that. And
Awesome.
I foresee hitting that exact same number in the next couple of days.
Nice. So you've been able to do how much in the last like 5 weeks if we take
So
away the
I'm
week you're
sitting right
gone?
around 16K in my
Okay.
5 weeks of joining HBL that I would
Cool,
not have
man.
had. Yeah.
That's awesome. And this is a new channel, you weren't using before. It's not like you just popped up and started using something you were already using. What has been maybe an unexpected result, man, you've gotten from the program?
My confidence, think in using it, excuse me, I, that first week, that first 2, 3 weeks, man, just doing the initial steps was so unnatural to me and super intimidating. Like I was like, oh my gosh, am I gonna get the hang of this? And then just this week alone, suddenly when the results start hitting, you're like, oh shoot, I'm not even scared of this anymore. I've just got to keep hitting it and getting better and better at it.
Nice. So that's awesome, man. A lot of times I think people talk about, especially in your business, is there's a lot of people that come from the hospital world into being an entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is this program kind of helped you do, man, from that perspective of being like, okay, I'm a nurse practitioner now, kind of in charge of my own income. Like, what has that done for you personally, man, to know that, some of the skills you're learning in here are really helping you as an entrepreneur?
Uh, I'd, I just mentioned confidence. This gives me a lot more confidence in my business as a whole, just moving forward. Because there's always that what if fear that, like, well, shoot, am I just getting lucky right now with my business? Like, at some point in time, could things dry up? But the amount of people I'm adding to my business in such a short amount of time, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm not worried about this thing going away at all. Because I could even apply this to something else in the future if I got into some other type of business.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, so from the community aspect, man, what is this like meant for you? Maybe from just being on the outside, then you come
Mhm.
in and you recognize like, oh my gosh, there's like this whole community of people. What's been the shift for you with that?
Um, I'm not sure I completely understand. Are you talking about like the people within HBL or talking about
Yeah.
my community here?
Yeah. No, the people within HBL.
Well, I mean, it's almost like you're making new friends because when you meet people in here that are also business owners, also entrepreneurs, some of them very similar business, some of them completely different business, but to see and hear from other people the way that they tweak it and how they're using it gives you even some fresh insight as to what you can do. But it also helps you just to relate because if I talk about this stuff with even some of my family members or coworkers from the hospital or whatever, they can't really it's not relatable, whereas having
Right.
a community of entrepreneurs to be like bounce stuff off of, just listen to, share things with, it's like, wow, this is super cool. Now there's another community I'm part of, people that I can relate to and can relate to me in this aspect.
That's awesome. Cool, man. Well, let me ask you this. Like, you are maybe one of those guys on the outside, like, hey, is this really going to work? Is it not going to work? Like, what would you say to that person that maybe was in that similar situation as you, like wondering, like, hey, am I going to actually see an ROI or is it going to be another, marketing
Excuse
company?
me. Yeah. So I would say as long as you're confident in yourself that you're gonna hustle it out and do and you can put the work in, don't hesitate because as long as you're learning the skills and putting them to use, it's just gonna take off like the rest of us that are doing that.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So I want to touch on, one thing before we jump off, which is, we talk a little bit about, I hate being called a marketing company because I don't feel like what we do
Yeah, yeah.
is marketing. We teach you a system of
Mhm.
how to generate, your ideal clients, but like, from conversations we have to, being in a group, like what would you say makes us different than everybody else so far that you've come in contact with?
Um, I mean, the fact there is a community. There's all sorts of communities these days, especially on social media. But as you just said, yeah, for lack of a better term, calling it marketing, it's definitely not, because it's like you use this word all the time. It is literally just a funnel that you're using to just continually fill and bring in. And I don't know if I'm answering the question completely right, but I'm a little tired. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good, man. So, I mean, mainly like I always
Yeah.
think of like a marketing company
Yeah.
doesn't really have a community. There's
Sure.
hardly
Yeah.
anybody you can relate to, and there's no coaching or accountability, involved in that. And so, that's
Okay.
really
Yeah.
what,
Well, yeah, okay. Thank you for clarifying. So I would say the biggest difference is, with any other marketing, so to speak, the moment I stop paying, it's just all gone, right? So I have learned these new skills, and I'm still learning a lot more skills to come. But even the few skills that I've already learned, I'm like, well, I can't lose this. You know what I mean? Because I have the knowledge.
right. That's awesome. So basically what you're saying is like, hey, this skill that I'm learning stays with me forever.
Right.
I don't have to depend on HBL to teach me these skills, right?
Sure.
And so the cool thing is you're really learning skills you can take with you
Yes.
forever.
Absolutely. So the ROI is huge because it just keeps compounding.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, dude, super pumped that you're inside of HBL, the results you're getting, and super excited to see you to get more. So thanks for being
Yeah,
on here today, man. If you
absolutely.
guys if you guys want to be a part of our habit-based lifestyle community, go in the show notes, look at our habit-based lifestyle and business secrets group on Facebook. If you guys want to reach out to Josh, you have any questions, we'll put a link to him directly, especially if you're in Pennsylvania and you may be someone who's been eating too much Hershey chocolate and you need to lose some weight, or maybe you got some wrinkles, you can reach out to him personally. But we thank you guys for being listeners on the show. Until next episode, have a great day.
You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewell. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go!